I'm Aaron Dean, and this is Advocate Today. North Carolina's GOP-controlled legislature has approved a new bill banning transgender girls from playing on sports teams that align with their gender identity. The bill would designate sports by sex assigned at birth. The restrictions would apply to universities, community colleges, along with all public middle school and high schools. North Carolina's Democratic governor is expected to veto the bill, but Republicans hold a veto-proof, a super majority in both chambers of the General Assembly. 22 other states have banned trans athletes from participating in school sports. And in Florida, a federal judge has struck down the state's ban on Medicaid coverage for gender-affirming care. The judge says that the ban violated the Affordable Care Act's prohibition of sex discrimination and equal protection guaranteed of the U.S. Constitution. The judge said, quote, "Gender identity is real," accusing the state of blocking payments for political reasons and using a biased and unscientific process. The ruling applies to both minors and adults. Florida is one of 19 states that have restricted or banned transgender medical care. A comprehensive LGBTQ+ rights bill is being reintroduced in the U.S. House and Senate. The Equality Act aimed to amend civil rights laws and explicitly prohibit discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. The bill has previously passed in the House but faced challenges in the Senate. Its future in the current session remains uncertain, although President Joe Biden supports it. Democratic lawmakers, including members of the Equality Caucus, introduced the bill in both chambers. Summer is here, and that means two things: pride and travel. The rise of anti-LGBTQ+ hate has queer travelers worried about safety. Airbnb is leading the charge to make sure that all travelers feel welcomed wherever they may be. The hospitality giant is releasing a global pride report, and it gives a glimpse into a fascinating trend. Hosts are embracing LGBTQ+ affirming language. In fact, over 90% of hosts are incorporating this language into profiles. Airbnb's Christopher Nolte tells us about how hosts are supporting queer joy and memories. Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so what exactly is the Airbnb Global Pride Report?
Yeah, every year we think a lot about pride. We have, we know that a large base of our consumers are LGBT. It was a recent study from Morning Consult that basically sort of revealed that 41% of LGBT travelers in the U.S. are already Airbnb users. This is about 8% higher than all U.S. travelers. Pride is important to our community, but really at the core of that is our mission, which is, creating a world in which anyone can belong anywhere, creating a world where people can, be connected across cultures, across boundaries. So pride's always been an important part of Airbnb as a company and our community.
And when we talk about LGBTQ+ affirming actions, when it comes to this report, how does it showcase that the hosts that you all have are being fair, they're being inclusive?
Yeah, so one of the things that we really wanted to understand with this report was how has our community sort of stepped up to really signify to guests that they are creating welcoming spaces. Mm-hmm. And in the last 6 years, the number of hosts globally using LGBT affirming language in their profile, in their description, has almost doubled. And that's something that we're really, really proud of, particularly at a moment where I think there's some really tough conversations around the LGBT community, where we know the LGBT community is under threat and attack, both legislatively, and from anti-LGBT folks. We think that this sort of genuine signifying of welcoming folks is really important and really quite special, honestly.
And can you provide some more details on the surge of approximately 90% of hosts incorporating LGBTQ+ affirming language on their profiles, and exactly what factors do you think might have contributed to this increase?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. So, just to sort of take a step back, we sat down with our data science team and said, can we go through every host profile around the world? We have more than 4 million hosts in 220 countries and regions across 100,000 cities. And we said, can we go and look at all those profiles And can we understand who's using, really specific LGBT affirming language, talking about partner, talking about being gay friendly, being trans friendly. And, so we sort of developed this list of terms and then went and looked at how that had changed, from 2017 until now. And I think there's a couple things. One, fundamentally, hosting is about welcoming someone into your home. And, I think it's really special to work at a company and be part of a company where that is sort of the fundamental mission. And so I think we're already starting with a baseline of folks who, the reason they've come to Airbnb to be a host is because there's something about hosting and welcoming people that's really special to them. I think the second thing is, over the last couple of years, we've invested a lot of time, energy, and resources into developing a whole set of, anti-discrimination tools on our platform. And part of that is what we call our community commitment. And we ask every host and every guest globally, when they become a user, to sign our community commitment, which, goes beyond any local or federal anti-discrimination sort of guidelines and affirms that every host and guest is committed to not discriminating based on race, religion, gender identity, sexuality. And, we've removed millions of user profiles because people have not agreed to that language. But I think that when you make a decision as a company to say, we're going to take this so seriously that we're going to remove hosts, we're going to remove guests who will not commit to this, it also is an opportunity for hosts and guests to say, I take this so seriously that I want to make that really clear in my profile and the language that I'm using so that when people are looking at my home and thinking about staying with me, that they know it's a place where they're going to feel comfortable.
And, even when we look at, let's just say, states that are really heavy right now on anti-LGBTQ legislation, how has, how do you reaffirm to guests that, of course, there may be some troubles going on like the law part of the state, but our host is safe. Like they are trustworthy.
Yeah. Trust and safety between hosts and guests is something that we take incredibly important. There's a couple things we do on this front. I mean, just sort of at a baseline, in the United States, we run background checks on every host and guest on our platform. That goes far beyond what any other hospitality platform, including hotels, does. We also have a two-way review system that ensures that you as a host and you as a guest understand exactly what you're getting. I always tell people when they're booking an Airbnb that, reading through the reviews is really, really important because it tells you just as much about the host as it does about the home. We also developed recently this host passport that really gives hosts an opportunity to tell their guests even more about themselves. But look, the world is not perfect. Our systems are not perfect. And more than anything, when things don't go right, which is rare, but it happens, we have 24/7 customer support. And when it comes to people feeling uncomfortable in a listing, unsafe, or feel like they might be facing discrimination, we take that incredibly seriously. We have a dedicated team that deals just with those complaints. And our biggest commitment is that, we're going to get you rebooked right away.
When we look even beyond Pride Month and look at other marginalized groups like Black people or Black and brown individuals and other things like that, how do you also, show them that, hey, this is also safe for you guys as well?
We've developed a number of different tools, one of which is, changing the way and the moment at which people can see someone's profile photo, the moment at which someone can see, somebody's name, to make sure that, we're removing all those moments when a host or guest might discriminate against, the person that they're welcoming to their home or the host, with which they're going to stay. We've worked really closely with the ACLU, with, Color of Change, and with a number of other organizations to really sort of vet this and make sure that the tools that we're developing make sense. We're also not invaluable. And I think that's why, the sort of last mile, if you will, protections we have in place that if and when these instances happen, which are rare, but when they do, that we are there to support you and that we make sure we get you, the home that you want, the place to stay that's going to work for you. At the end of the day, more than anything else, we are here to make sure you have a great vacation, right? That's what we want. That's why we exist around the world. And so that's our first priority. Are you having a great time? Do you feel safe? And if that's not the case, we want to get you rebooked right away. We want to get you into a place where you do feel safe. I can say in the 9 years that I've worked at Airbnb, these instances are incredibly rare, but we also optimize for those rare instances because we never want someone to feel uncomfortable.
Thanks for watching Advocate today. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to stream us live, and you can even subscribe to our Advocate Channel YouTube page. For the Advocate Channel, I'm Aaron Dean.